Monera. Monera are microscopic organisms that are at the very bottom of living beings. They cannot be seen with the naked eye, but they can be seen with a microscope. The main representative of this type of organism is a creature that I am sure you have all met, and that is bacteria. Of course, bacteria are not the only type of Monera. Archaea also belong to this group. What is characteristic of them is that they are all single-celled, and their structure is very simple. In the center of their body is the cytoplasm in which the genetic material floats, with which they reproduce. On the surface are flagella with which they stick to some soil, and it is separated from the cytoplasm by a cell wall. Some bacteria also have a flagellum with which they move. They feed exclusively heterotrophically, which means that they have to find food themselves. This food is mainly made up of small particles of atomic or molecular structure. Not all bacteria are bad for us. There are also good ones, such as probiotics that help us digest food more easily in the large intestine, but there are of course also bad ones, such as cavities that feed on our teeth. Types of bacteria can be bacilli, cocci, streptococcus, and others. Archaea, on the other hand, are considered the most resilient creatures on Earth. Some of them can live for a couple of millennia. They are resistant to almost everything: heat, water pressure, cold, altitude, and the like. There are cases where scientists found a couple of them living near volcanoes at a temperature of 130 degrees Celsius. The difference between bacteria and archaea is in the composition of the molecules of the cell wall, which is why archaea are so tough.
Protists. Protists are like Monera microscopic creatures that cannot be seen with a microscope. Unlike Monera, protists are much more diverse and live almost everywhere on planet Earth. The main division of protists is into algae and protozoa. Just so, for all of you who didn't know, algae belong to the protists and not to plants, and there are various of them. Green flagellate, or euglena, is one of them. It is a microscopic algae and is found everywhere in all waters. Other algae are silicate algae, fire algae, green algae, brown algae, and red algae. They are all visible to the naked eye and are as you imagine them. For example, brown algae are brownish in color. Protozoa, on the other hand, are divided into small microscopic creatures and can be amoebas, flagellates, ciliates, and sporozoa. These organisms are parasites that live in other organisms. Since we said that they are very diverse protists, they differ in mode of movement, that is, protozoa move while algae are stationary. They can feed autotrophically, that is, they create their own food through photosynthesis, heterotrophically, that is, they seek it, or even mixotrophically, that is, they feed in both ways. Amoeba do not have a fixed shape and move everywhere on the surface. Protozoa stand out in their nature and look like bacteria, while ciliates have small cilia, with which they also move and look something like a centipede. Sporozoa are very dangerous and can live and feed on human blood if we ingest something infected with it. Even algae can harm humans. For example, humans should not swim in waters where there are a lot of fire algae so as not to damage their skin.
Fungi. Fungi are multicellular organisms that can be found in various places in nature, but most often it is the forest or your kitchen. Representatives of this kingdom of living beings are molds, which most often appear in the form of mold on bread, and they are microscopic, then yeasts, mushrooms, and lichens. Remember that fungi are not the same as plants. Fungi feed exclusively heterotrophically, that is, they make their own food. For example, molds feed on bread that you have waited 3 days to spread jam on, while fungi feed on various nutrients found in the Earth's crust. Fungi are something between animals and plants. What distinguishes them from animals is movement, that is, fungi do not move. Fungi also have their own root called mycelium, with which they feed. Mostly, they are all multicellular except for molds. We use mushrooms and yeasts in our diet, except that we need to be careful, as you already know, about whether some mushrooms are poisonous or not. For example, champignons are non-toxic, while bolete mushrooms are poisonous. Lichens are a special group of fungi that are actually a symbiosis of two different organisms. That is, part of the lichen is fungi and they feed the lichen, while the other part is algae that help the lichen breathe. That is, two different living beings live as one.
Plants. Plants are all very well-known living beings that are found all around us and that help us breathe. That is, if it were not for them, there would be no oxygen on Earth. Plants are all multicellular and do not move. In addition, every plant feeds autotrophically. That is, through the process of photosynthesis, they create their own food. That is, sugar and fat or oil. A plant consists of vegetative and reproductive organs. Vegetative are root, stem, and leaf, while reproductive are flower, fruit, and seed. The plant absorbs water and minerals from the soil through its roots. The stem is like a blood vessel in the plant, while the leaf serves for the process of photosynthesis. Flower, fruit, and seed are the sexual organs of the plant. The main and broadest division of plants is into mosses, ferns, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Angiosperms are divided into monocotyledons and dicotyledons. These two types are the most familiar to you. Monocotyledons include, for example, apple, gooseberry, cabbage, and others, while dicotyledons include grass, orchid, etc.
Animals. Animals are my favorite living creatures, and they are found literally everywhere, wherever you are, on land, in the sky, in the water, literally everywhere, and there are so many of them. Almost all of them move, except for certain aquatic ones like sea sponges. All animals feed exclusively heterotrophically, that is, they get their own food by hunting, killing from water, air, land. The broadest division of animals is into vertebrates and invertebrates. Invertebrates are sponges, coelenterates, worms, mollusks, arthropods, insects, and echinoderms. Vertebrates, on the other hand, are fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. We are mammals. There are so many animals that we have to make a separate video for it, so don't forget to leave a like for it. Organ systems in mammals are the most complex since they have a skeleton, skin, muscle tissue, nervous system, respiratory, digestive, circulatory, excretory, endocrine, reproductive systems. They are so complex and always multicellular. If you thought the division of vertebrates was complicated, just wait until you see how complex the division of mammals is, so be sure to stay with our channel, and if you like the content, support us by liking and subscribing.